Digimon Adventure 02. How am I only just watching this? Yeah, that's right, somehow I missed this season when I was younger. I remember watching all of Digimon Adventure before it, I remember watching all of Digimon Tamers after it, but somehow this second season completely evaded me. I never saw a single episode back in the day. I feel like maybe it didn't air in the UK, or if it did, it was on some really obscure channel at some really obscure time. But the only context I've ever had for Digimon Adventure 02 and its characters is from the second half of Digimon the movie. So I thought it was about time, guys. I've just watched the entirety of Digimon Adventure 02, 50 episodes. And this is interesting, because it's not a nostalgia thing for me like the original Adventure series was. Regardless, let's dive in and have a chat about the second season of the Digimon anime. And of course, the usual spoiler warning before we get stuck in. So Adventure 2 kicks off 3 years after the events of Digimon Adventure, the digital world being at relative peace until a new threat emerges in the form of the Digimon Emperor, a human antagonist who is capturing and enslaving Digimon. And it falls to a brand new group of Digidestined to take down this new threat. I actually didn't realise how directly 02 ties into the original series. Like, I knew that more grown-up versions of TK and Kari were part of the new group, but I didn't realise that the other OG Digidestined also make frequent appearances throughout, even though they aren't front and centre in the story. It's way more of a natural continuation than I expected it to be. So speaking of the characters, I do feel like there was a line trying to be towed here between the fresh and the familiar. There are only 3 new protagonist characters in here, so along with TK and Kari, the group is still smaller than the one we followed in Digimon Adventure. Davis is positioned as the new group leader, very much a spiritual successor to Tai, although a bit more brash, way more unserious, borderline obnoxious, but loyal to a fault. Then there's Yoli. I don't know, I don't feel like she's as memorable as Sora or Mimi, but she grounds the group, while also being pretty outspoken. She seems like a character that doesn't hold back what she thinks. It's a weird balance. I feel like I'm still pinging from side to side with my opinions on her. And finally, we have Cody. Originally I thought Cody was intended to be an Izzy equivalent, but he's much more philosophical. He's closer to Joe than Izzy for sure. He's like the moral compass of the group. Those are the new characters. As I mentioned, we have an aged up TK and Kari too, and these two are sort of the primary bridge between the old and the new. TK is way more confident and self-assured now, and Kari is still giving that wise beyond her years energy. Gentle but calculated. It's a good cast of characters when I throw it all together in my head. Definitely not as exciting or memorable as the original cast, but there's a novelty to it that I do appreciate. I feel like this group is maybe actually a little more relatable, because they are a little more regular overall. So as with the season before it, we can quite easily segment Adventure 02 into its different arcs by the main antagonists we see throughout. First up is the Digimon Emperor arc. This takes up like almost half of the entire season. This arc is all about this guy, Ken, our human antagonist in this season. In his real world life, Ken is a perfectly courteous and well-to-do personality, but in the digital world, he is a sadistic tyrant who makes Digimon suffer for his own ego and entertainment. He gives very little care to his partner Digimon, Wormmon, who despite all of it, still stays loyal to Ken, and eventually even sacrifices himself for Ken's safety. Wormmon is the real centerpiece of this arc for me. His death is just gut-wrenching, but it was the only thing, certainly I could think of, that would be powerful enough to break Ken's evil front. And it does turn him around into a redemption arc. Yeah, there's no gently bedding us into this season before things get heavy. We're straight into it with Adventure 02. I am consistently impressed by the maturity of the themes in the Digimon anime. Next up is the Black War Greymon arc. With Ken back on side with the good guys, the group is now working to take down these black control spires, which an evil Digimon called Arukenimon is using to create new and very strong Digimon, and eventually creating Black War Greymon, with the intent to destroy the Destiny Stones. Those are artifacts that maintain the boundary between the real and digital world. And I'll be honest, this arc felt a little like it was swinging from side to side. it sort of stumbles along. It's trying to do a lot, and I found it a little difficult to stay on the pulse with everything. The big standout of this arc for me though, is Black War Greymon himself. A fascinating character. Kind of reminiscent of Mewtwo in the Pokemon movie. He's an artificial being searching for his purpose. It hits those same existential beats. I became a big Black War Greymon fan by the end of this. And that's actually why I went out of my way to use one in my Digimon Cyber Sleuth playthrough. Then the final arc, which kind of feels like a continuation of the second to be fair, just with higher stakes. The Malo-Myotismon arc. Things get more complicated still, as Myotismon's lingering energy from the first season possesses a human man, wanting to get back to the digital world and claim power for himself, and is now also infecting young children with dark energy too. A lot happens in this arc. We get a lot more context around Ken and how he came to be the Digimon Emperor. We get a glimpse of the scale of the global Digidestined, showing that Digimon aren't this big secret. There is a vast network of Digimon tamers out there all over the world. Black War Greymon finally finds a purpose in the most heartbreaking fashion, sacrificing himself to seal the portal to the digital world. And honestly, I hadn't felt so emotional watching Digimon since the final episode of Digimon Tamers as a kid. This broke me a bit. And the final battle against Malo-Myotismon is a real spectacle, as the Digidestined have to navigate around not having the raw strength to defeat him. That's me trying to do a TLDR version. I've skipped over a lot there, and that's because this arc and this season is just very scattered, and I'm not sure what I should be paying attention to in parts, because a lot of story points I thought were going to be built upon didn't end up being built upon. I enjoyed the story, I just feel like it could have been tidier and not meandered as much. It's rough, and the road through it isn't as clean as the original Adventure series, but it just about holds itself up. It tackles themes of redemption, identity, internal struggles, some really good stuff in here. It just needed cleaning up. Characters like Wormmon and War Greymon carried this season massively, I think. As with most franchises, the mechanics of the world get built upon as well in Digimon Adventure 02. The big thing, for me anyway, being the new armor Digivolutions, which I think is just the coolest idea. It's a weird one because Digimon evolutions are kinda nonsensical anyway. You could tell me that Metal Greymon is an armor Digivolution of Greymon, so it's kinda weird to conceptualize, but it's really cool. I like the concept of it a lot. DNA Digivolution is another branch, two Digimon fusing together. Makes perfect sense to be fair, considering Digimon are made up of data. Conceptually, that just works, being able to splice them together. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we're seeing Digimon variants as well, with Black War Greymon. I'm still catching myself up with this to be fair. There are different colour palette versions of some Digimon, primarily black, which I'm assuming is the Digimon's data makeup being different. It seems inconsistent when it comes to whether it affects their strengths and weaknesses. But regardless, it's one of those things that always reels me in. Honestly, I'm like peak consumer with this kind of stuff. Like, I remember as a kid they'd bring out a new Beyblade, and it would literally just be the same Beyblade I already had, but red instead of blue, and I lapped that stuff up every time. So this sort of reminds me of that. And the Digivices have been given a buff in this season as well. They work kinda like keys to the digital world. The Digidestined use them to warp from world to world. Digimon Adventure 02 had a very difficult job, following up on the massive success of the Adventure series before it, and it struggles. It touches on a lot of interesting themes and topics, but a lot of it goes either unresolved or just not built upon enough. But there's a lot to admire in here too. A human antagonist with a solid redemption arc, Digimon characters that, in my view, outshine the human ones by some ways. And of course, Digimon's bravery to push in those deeper and darker directions will always be something that makes this franchise's anime one of my favourites. I know the dub apparently does it a fair bit of injustice. I don't think I've mentioned that anywhere to be fair, it is kind of a hot topic. Look, I've never consumed or interacted with the OG Japanese dub. This is all I know, so this is all I can talk on. Maybe I will watch it someday because I don't mind watching subs. I've watched subs before because I'm very impatient and want to see things as soon as I can. So no, Digimon Adventure 02 isn't a classic for me, but it's an important chapter in Digimon's wider library. It's more than just a sequel for sure. So let me throw the mic in your faces now. What are your thoughts on Digimon Adventure 02? Did you like it? Is it the Digimon Adventure follow-up you would have wanted? I'd love to know if you guys struggled to follow along in places like I did. Let me know all of that down in the comments section. While you're there, please do drop a quick like on the video, subscribe for more Digimon content. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.